Well, we got to get started here because I know Derek's very excited to share with us all the video games he's been playing.
Let's see if I can. Hold on.
He's already distracted.
No,
Well, because maybe I can do a little.
What kind of? Okay.
Okay. Right. I don't want that view.
Presenting Fathers of the Grind, dynamic camera angles.
Hey guys.
For anyone who's just listening, Derek just moved his camera so the audio comes through a little clearer, and he put it down right in front of his crotch while he was...
Actually, the audio was coming through real nice from your crotch. Good crotch audio.
Yeah. All we could hear was a little voice saying, "Help me!
I'm being crushed! Please send help."
Who is your daddy? I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
So we've got a couple different games to talk about this week, as well as we've had Gamescom this past week with some news. Not a ton, really, compared to like an E3, but Nintendo had a Direct, which we'll talk about. Before we get to any of that, let's talk about stuff we're playing. I'll kick things off this time. Of course, I'm still playing Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I'm just about done with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I actually on the last area. Planned to finish it last night, but then got distracted playing Oninaki. I've been playing more of that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that here in a little bit. The newest game from Square Enix and RPG Factory. Tokyo RPG Factory, I think?
Yeah, Tokyo RPG Factory.
Yep. And then I also, at the recommendation of our buddy Jason Marshall from over there at the Nerds Gone Platinum podcast, I went ahead and picked up Rad on the Switch. I know it's on all platforms, but most indies I play on the Switch. That way I can play them, handheld. And I'll talk about that in a little bit too. But wanted to hear from you guys. What are you playing?
Sounds pretty rad, Tim.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll get to that in a little bit.
Where if you say that you're playing Mario Maker again, we're done with you. You're out.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. I'm not playing Mario Maker. I'm experiencing Mario Maker. Is that better?
What do you mean?
He's just creating levels.
Yeah, I created another level. So
I got excited. I thought maybe you had found some new thing to do in Mario Maker. I was like, "Ooh, what is it? What'd you do?"
No, what was the last one? I don't know if you remember what the last one that you played of mine, Tim. There's a cornucopia of shenanigans is my best work so far.
I have not played that one.
That one's pretty good. That's my best work so far. That's a couple stages back, so I would suggest that one. But since then, I've been trying to, reach that high, and I just haven't. So I think I'm on the downward spiral.
Do you have any levels with the phrases with words like indubitably? That's a Daniel word.
I do not, but I will figure something out. I will find a way to take that word and have that represented in the Mario level. So okay. I'll figure something out.
You should also make one called Masshole at some point.
Yeah. Well, Nintendo might flag that, but yeah.
You got to figure it out, man. That's on you.
I got to be creative. I got to be creative. Okay. Absolutely. But other than that, Oninaki, obviously, but we're going to have, I'm assuming, a main topic for that, or
I think
it'll be the main thing we talk about.
And I finally actually started playing the actual game, Doom 2016.
Okay.
Because I actually had not played it up until then. I played the demo, front to back, but I don't know. I just never got around to buying it, and it's on PlayStation Now, and you can actually download it. So it's not the streaming version. You can actually download it. So obviously it runs smooth.
What do you think?
I'm about an hour and a half, 2 hours in. It's really fun. I mean, I enjoyed the demo. I just didn't at the time want to spend $60 on it, and I just was waiting for it to be about 20, and I've seen it on sale a couple of times, but I just didn't want to spend the money at the time because some other things were coming out. But it's really fun. It's fast. It's crazy. The metal is amazing.
Yeah.
Just that metal playing while you're
very stylish.
Shooting demons. Yeah.
To me, it's one of the more satisfying first-person shooters that I've ever played.
I was going to say, probably ever.
Shooting feels perfect. Even the melee stuff, as you run around and you get the power-ups, every aspect of it I thought was a blast. So I hope you enjoy it. It's a really fun game.
Yeah, it's very fast. I like, who's the character? Is it Hayden or Hate? Starts with an H. He's got like a really raspy, emphasized voice. He's like the main dude that you hear when you first start the game.
Yeah, I want to say it might be Hayden.
Hayden, yeah, that dude has a great voice. I don't know who the voice actor is, but that voice is just pretty intense.
That's one pop quiz on games like Doom that I'll always fail. Anything about characters or story or...
Yeah,
nope, don't remember. But I
know
do
I'm
remember,
playing as a space marine. That's it.
Yeah, I'm a space marine, and the shotgun's my favorite, and busting heads is awesome. Yeah.
It is. It doesn't get old, for sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there are areas in that game that I would get to that I'd be like, you know what, I think I might have hit my limit. I think I'm not good enough at this game. And then I realize I'm playing it too much like I would play maybe something like Far Cry, where it's pop out, get some shots off, take cover, regain your composure and go out again. It's not that kind of game. You have to just run.
I'm just going in circles. I'm going in circles. I shoot something. If I see it glowing,
run.
Yeah. I melee it, and then I keep running. So
especially some of the big areas that have some seriously deadly enemies that if they get near you, you're gone. And then you just use the environment to get around. Oh, so fun! You're making me want to play it again. I'm thinking about it. I love it.
I did just get the chainsaw. The chainsaw is wonderful. It's a very not violent weapon. So it's good stuff. So
it's more of a massage chainsaw.
Yeah. And I think it's funny that like you need to actually find gasoline for it. You can only use it like a few times because it's one hit kill. So
I'm glad they did that. It kind of limits it makes it special when you do get to use it.
Yeah. So that's good times. Good times.
Sweet. Good choice as a way to kind of cleanse the palate from stuff like Mario Maker and Oninaki.
Indeed.
Now, Derek, you said right before we kind of officially started the show, you said, I'm pretty proud of myself. I played a lot of games today. Tell us what this is about. Also, your new gaming setups. I'll be honest with you. I'm not even making fun of you. It's pretty sweet. So tell us about what you got going on.
So I think I talked about last week that I purchased a new TV, but I hadn't gotten it yet. So I got it this week. It's a 55-inch Vizio. It's the M8 series, which is basically a high-end. It's like the higher end of the mid-tier TVs. So it was on sale for $600, and then I got $200 in rewards for purchasing it, which I plan on using to buy probably Xbox currency. So that's $200 worth of games, basically, I'm getting back.
By the way,
so
higher
I'm excited about that.
That makes me think of maybe the Andrew Luck of TVs, you might say. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about sports talk.
I just wanted to work in Andrew Luck reference since he's out here.
By the way, talk sports ball.
Is that somebody who plays Rocket League?
If you're on Twitter, I know, gotta get back to Derek first. I started to interrupt you. If you're on Twitter, go check out what is it called? Captain Andrew Luck, I think. Hang on, I'm gonna find it. Yeah, Captain Andrew Luck account. And this has been going on for a long time. But someone has been tweeting since 2015 as Civil War soldier Captain Andrew Luck. And everything that happens in modern day, he does it as a dearest mother letter in a tweet.
Okay.
And uses like old-fashioned language. So if those of you who haven't heard, Andrew Luck just very surprisingly retired at the age of 29, just decided I'm done.
Okay.
And so the tweet came out when that news broke from the Captain Andrew Luck Twitter account, and it says, "Dearest mother, the quill has never felt more heavy. I have made the decision to holster my sidearm permanently. I shall battle no more. The decision is difficult, but, as the hogs taught me, I must be true to myself. I am coming home to care for you and the farm. Andrew."
That's
so. I highly recommend Captain Andrew Luck Twitter account. Sorry, I got distracted there.
That's unique stuff.
It is, yeah. Whoever came up with that idea, kudos. That's weird and it's awesome, and I love it.
Are you recording?
Without having the fake Kaz account, I feel like
I was going to say the Kaz one. Yeah.
Oh, that was so great. Okay, sorry, Derek. So it's the high end of the mid tier, and you have a lot of money. Go.
Yeah, totally. No, but it's like comparable to, they were comparing it to like the Sony, I think X850 or something like that, and some other TVs that I've heard other people in our group buy. One of them that I was actually looking into was the TCL 6 series. So they compared it to that and basically said it's pretty much quality-wise as far as picture quality, how it works for a PC monitor, and gaming, it's the same. The only difference is the TCL has like better like apps and stuff like that. So I don't care about that. So I saw this was the better deal. Even though you can technically, if you're going to go to like Best Buy or something like that, you can get the TCL 6 Series with 55 inch for like $500. So these are all like, when I say this is a really, really good pitcher, I mean it's a really, really good pitcher. So when you're looking at $400, $500 for it, it's not bad at all. But anyway, so I purchased that, and what I did is basically routed my PC to, it's still connected to my monitor, but I also have it going to my TV. Gotcha. So I can now play it without having to unplug. I don't have to do anything. I just turn the PC on, and it's connected to both. So whatever TV I have, or whatever one I have on the monitor or the TV, is the one I can play on. Or I can play both. They can both can be viewed at the same time.
So what have you played on the new screen so far?
So just whenever you get something new, you always like go and check out like all these games. So the first thing I did is on my Xbox One, I just started booting up all these games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and The Witcher 3 and all that, and they looked really, really good. Well, then when I hooked up my PC today, I went into Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I played that for about 30 or 40 minutes, and that game looked stunning, like really, really good. But then I jumped into The Witcher 3, and I felt like that game looked superior, which is crazy because it's an older game. I still think Odyssey is a really good-looking game, but I think The Witcher 3, I think The Witcher 3 just looks better. And I ended up getting hooked. I played for like 4 hours straight. Like I just kept playing. And all I didn't do any main story missions. I was just in the main area, the first area, and I was just going from question mark to question mark to question mark. That's all I was doing. Yeah. And then right before we logged on, the last game I wanted to check out was how Dragon Age Inquisition looks, and it was better looking than The Witcher 3. So
get out of here!
I'm serious. I'm serious.
You're so obsessed with that game. I mean, it's a great game, but
it's better looking than The Witcher 3.
It
doesn't play better because I've already beat The Witcher 3 twice. So if I did beat it, this would be the third time.
Yeah. That dragon be aging is what really is going on.
And Dragon Age Inquisition I've only beat once, and I've started it on like the Xbox and the PS4 and now the PC for a second playthrough, but I've never gotten past 4 or 5 hours. So,
by the way,
that's pretty much it.
I blame Mario Maker 2 for keeping me from getting much further in Dragon Age Inquisition past the first main area. So it's Mario Maker's fault.
Well,
Why did you wait? Huh? Mario Maker made you play Dragon Age?
No, I was playing Dragon Age.
Oh, no, you're saying Dragon Age. You stopped playing Dragon Age.
In the weeks around and following E3, I'd kind of started to dig into Dragon Age a little bit. I was starting to enjoy myself. I was like, this combat is kind of fun. It's not my favorite, but I'm getting it. And then when Mario came out, I just played that nonstop. And then by the time I was kind of winding down on Mario, at least as much as I did initially, then I was playing stuff like Marvel and Fire Emblem. And now Oninaki. Derek, is there anything else you want to share that you're playing before we dive into our Oninaki?
No. I think that's it. The Witcher 3 is probably still the best game of this generation. The fact that I can just play it and just like lose myself in it and not go, okay, I played this. Because that's usually what I'll do. I'll log in, play the game for like 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and be like, I've already played this. Move on to something else. Yeah. But not today.
I never played the expansions. I need to get into those.
Yeah, those are
They're both like, I don't usually play the DLC of games because they're usually just they don't have anything a lot of times to do with the main story. They try to do something different. But The Witcher 3, they do.
Yeah.
It's almost
connected. Like sequels, right? It's basically
it's all
kind of like
connected. Like and it's all quality. There's only like one part in one of the DLCs where it's like, okay, it's a little slow, but I kind of understand, they were just trying to do something a little different, and it's not too bad. In fact, when I went back,
like the whole party thing,
the wedding party and stuff.
Yeah. I will say that Blood and Wine does feel kind of like a quick release sequel because the systems are mostly the same and the visuals still look great, but they're not necessarily a new game. But it's a totally new area, brand new characters, new monsters. Yeah. So Blood and Wine, to me, and the size of that game is just huge. So that one, to me, felt like, Witcher 3.5, basically. Hearts of Stone, I think it's actually a better and tighter story. But it still takes place in the same areas as before. They open up a couple new areas in your existing map, basically.
Yeah.
And so most of it takes place in familiar spaces, and it's just overall shorter. But it is a tighter and better story, and it's pretty stinking dark compared to. I think Blood and Wine is mostly you go to like this. It's kind of like the countryside of France with these beautiful views and really bright colors and lots of vineyards and stuff. Which, by the way, you can run your own vineyard. And then Hearts of Stone is just much more a really dark storyline about contracts with certain monsters. Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything there, but it's a really good one. Speaking of dark stories, let's talk about Oninaki.
Yeah, a little dark.
Oninaki from Square Enix, their Tokyo RPG Factory studio that made Setsuna and Lost Sphears. Dude, Oninaki, I'm about 2.5, 3 hours in. This game is dark. Like at first I thought it was just kind of a somber game, but like now that I'm starting to hit these little storylines and little character conversations and things that you're actually doing, I'm like, this is the first JRPG that I can remember that had, this is not a huge spoiler, but if you don't want to hear anything from the story, skip ahead a little bit. It's the first game I ever played that had a mass suicide, for example.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate. I was like, did they seriously just do that? So, anyway.
They sure did.
I want to let Daniel get us going on Oninaki. You're the square boy around here.
I'm the square boy.
that makes me sound... Give us an overview. Give us an overview of what this game is and some of your thoughts on it.
Daniel's such a square.
He's a square boy.
It's hip to be square.
All right, never mind.
So the main character, Kagashi, is a watcher, and basically what watchers are is they're kind of like the person that guides the lost, which are the deceased that are still lingering in the world. And the void is what it's called. So there's the living world, and then there's the void. So that's where like the ghosts, so to speak, hang out. And in the world of Oninaki, you're not supposed to have any like regrets of the person dying. You're not supposed to feel remorse. You're kind of supposed to just come to terms with it pretty much immediately. Because what ends up happening is if you feel that any of those feelings, then they stay in the void and they're kind of stuck.
Yeah. And
they don't know how to move on into reincarnation, which is that's basically the main thing of this world is like, they're like, we know reincarnation's a thing and you need to let these people move on to that so they don't have to linger around and, deal with that. Because if they stay around too long, they'll actually turn into the monsters that are roaming the world. So
what I thought when that opening scene, your main character is a little kid and he's standing at the foot of a bed with 2 dead parents on it.
Yeah.
And this guy, a watcher, he's the father of your childhood friend, this girl, Mayura.
Mayura? Yeah, I think it's Mayura.
And I thought it was a translation mistake because he basically just says, "Don't grieve for your parents."
Yeah.
And I was like, that can't be correct. That can't be
Telling this little kid not to grieve.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, the whole point is if you, the spirit, have unfinished business or regrets or fears or something, you could get stuck. But same with your loved ones, apparently. You can be stuck. So
I think the first main thing that really threw me off, and like Tim said, if you don't want to hear any major story stuff, like the first main mission there where you're looking for the lost boy.
Yeah.
And then you find the lost boy. Again, he has passed away, but he's lingering around. So he wants to go see his parents one more time. And you go and you find the parents at their home. And you're like, hey, like, he's here beside me. I know you can't see him, but like, we're watchers, so we can kind of sort of be like a translator, so to speak. And you need to like, are you having any regrets? Is there something wrong? And they're at first saying like, no,
we're happy for him.
Yeah. And then, and again, if you don't want to hear any story spoilers, like fast forward like 10, 15 seconds.
This isn't a main storyline, by the way. This is, I don't think it's that big of a spoiler because it's like setting the stage for what it is Kagashi does.
Yeah. So
I don't think it's going to spoil your experience if you're listening to this.
Well, basically, I mean, the mass suicide is like, I think that's the most effed up thing so far.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, this is kind of like
messed up.
Yeah, it was within the first half hour. Like, basically, then the mom is like,
did they say why? I didn't get far into the game. I only played at the beginning. Why they do the mass suicide? Is it some like ritual?
So the guy that's leading that, like, it's almost like a cult. Basically, he gets them together and he says he's going to sort of shepherd them into into the other worlds, into the new world of like, you don't want to be in this living world anymore. Let's go to the void and let's all go together, and then we'll get reincarnated together or something. So, but he lies to them, and
he has them all bought in that it's going to be better on the other side.
Basically. Yeah.
Okay, so that doesn't happen like right away.
That one happens in a little bit. The one Daniel's talking about with the parents and the son is earlier on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I saw the parents because that's like the beginning, and then I fought like a little bit, and then I got to like the first save point and I stopped.
But so like I don't know if it got to you, but like when the mom then is like, yeah, I actually can't live my life anymore without my son. Like I can't be here. I can't do this. And then the dad just kind of like nods, and then like they turn around, and the main character Kagashi is like, "Are you guys sure? Like this is your last chance to change your mind." And they say, "We're sure." So they cover their eyes, and then you just you kill them. Okay. So they can go meet their son in the void and then get reincarnated together.
But they've made it very clear in multiple conversations. There's no guarantee that you'll meet up or know each other after this life. Like you don't really have the same memories or feelings or connections as before. It's a reset. So the lore is very much about reincarnation.
Yeah.
And although we haven't actually seen that play out yet, I imagine there's more to it than just a flat out reincarnation.
So as a Christian, I should be triggered.
Yeah, absolutely. You should probably stop playing.
That's where we were headed with this conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
so Daniel,
I can't handle that, and I gotta check with Trump and see if he knows where in the scriptures it says that I should be triggered.
Let's find out what Trump's favorite Bible verse is where that talks about.
I can't talk about that. That's too personal.
Dude, that's my favorite video ever. They're like, "Can you just give us one verse that you like?" He's no, I'm not gonna do that. It's just a special book. It's my favorite book.
It's a special book. I really like the Middle Testament. It's really good. It's in between the New and the Old. It's really good.
I like how they go, "Are you more of a New Testament guy or Old Testament guy?" He's like, equal.
I like them both.
I
didn't even know you had two Testaments. I don't even know what that is.
Do you guys know about the special edition Bible, though?
Oh, my gosh. All right, sorry. Daniel, I wanted to ask you, as a guy who's played not only a lot of JRPGs, but you played a lot of Square Enix games. What do you think about, we kind of just laid out the premise of what this Oninaki game is for folks. Before we talk about gameplay stuff, what are your thoughts on the direction they decided to go with this overall setting and premise for the game?
Well, it's unfortunate I didn't get to play Lost Sphear, so I don't know sort of the progression from I Am Setsuna to Lost Sphear to this. But there's definitely kind of a through line as far as like somberness and sadness and just overall depressing story. Like there's just a lot of sad themes and a lot of dark themes in their games.
I Am Setsuna wasn't helped by the fact that although it was a gorgeous soundtrack, it was a very simple piano-only, super depressing soundtrack. So far, the Oninaki music's been pretty good. And I like the battle music.
I think it's very clear that the budget's been upped for this one. Yeah. Again, I don't know how it was for Lost Sphear, but like there's actual cutscenes. The camera's not just constantly like the kind of top down like Diablo style look. The camera actually kind of goes down to their faces a bit. It's not the most detailed game, but it's not ugly, I don't think. I think it's, artsy.
I think the demo ran fine for me on Switch and PS4. The full game itself, I've had some moments on the PS4, the version that Derek bought it, where I can play it. I have had some moments where it's had some tremendous slowdown during certain battles. It's only happened like 2 or 3 times, and it didn't freeze up or anything, but it would really... There was actually one time when it was panning down across the first time you see the first city or town.
Okay, that happened to me that one time too,
So there was that, and there's been twice during battles where I got something similar. So part of me thinks, they'll patch it and they'll fix that stuff up. This game is not too high tech for a PS4, Xbox One, or PC.
No. Combat-wise, it's a lot like Diablo, but like... I don't know. Like it's an action RPG, but
Persona with personas.
Yeah, they kind of have personas that follow you around. The demons that follow you around.
Yeah, which are like the souls that like did go to the void, but like they're still lingering. But like you can essentially use them as kind of companions to do attacks, special attacks, and that kind of provides you with the weapon that you're using. Yeah. Because there are different ones.
Pretty limited on like equipment and gear and stuff. They really took gear somewhat out of this game, it seems like, right?
Well, it's based off. So it's based off of the demon because the first one that you have, and I can't remember her name because it's very Japanese.
It's like
I think it starts with an
Aisha.
I. Yeah,
Aisha, I think.
Aisha something. But she has a sword, and then the next one that you get after that is like a knight. I think he was part of the Blood Guard in his backstory. He has a spear, so then there's different moves that you can do with the spear. Yeah. And then there's like a couple after that. There's one that actually the one that I just got recently, super cool. She it was a gun, like a musket, like hand musket, and then like a crossbow.
Nice.
Which is super cool.
I haven't gotten
so
that
one's
one yet, but I've got the
pretty
first
unique.
two.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the first one has. So I learned is that each of these have their own, not only special moves, but kind of like a movement or dodge type move. It seems.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Yep.
So the first one has a very standard dodge move where you can kind of just slide out of the way as attacks are coming. So I found
like
this to be
dash.
a dash, very, very handy, especially for some of the bigger enemies, as you kind of learn their patterns and figure out when to jump in and hit and when to bounce out. I struggled at first with the spear guy, then I realized that his jump is essentially also a dash. It's just different. It doesn't get you out of the range as quickly, but you could jump over if they are swinging lower.
It's almost like being a dragoon from the Final Fantasy series. So essentially, he's jumping up, and at the highest point of that arch, if you hit the attack button, he like kind of jumps down with the spear, and kind of goes right through the enemy. So
their specials are pretty cool. They each have their own little skill tree where you can buff moves or overall stats, things like that. You could also learn some new moves that you can map to certain buttons. And then, Daniel, you mentioned the backstory, the lore for each of these characters. This is where I find this to be, I have a feeling it's only going to get darker. For a game with a pretty dark premise.
For sure.
Because these demon spirits that you team up with that are giving you these special moves, they're also just lost spirits that haven't passed over yet. And for whatever reason, they are teaming up with you to battle. Mm-hmm. And they each have a backstory. They just lost their memories. And so as you go through their skill tree, you get the option of unlocking their memory and their backstory. And I'm starting to realize, I'm pretty much enslaving these lost souls here. Yeah. But
I mean, you're kind of helping them. You're unlocking their memories, right? So.
See, thank you. That's what I needed to hear. I needed to hear that.
You're helping them unlock their memories because otherwise they'd just be sitting around doing nothing.
So the Diablo comparison is an interesting one. I actually thought of it as, to me, I guess Diablo is the right one. Sometimes I think Secret of Mana too, except that you're not holding in to charge up like you are. Secret of Mana is a big component of that game has to do with charging and that kind of thing. This one's a lot more action oriented, and timing is everything. But I've also quickly learned, especially as I've gotten just the second and third and fourth waves of major enemies and bigger bosses, that patience is key. Like I can't just bum rush and just start swinging. It's not Devil May Cry, where you can just go in and swing away. Like you've got to show a little patience, bounce back out, let them miss you a couple times, and then bounce back in.
Also helpful when you're in dungeons or whatever. There are a decent amount of save points, and there's actually a little healing force field. So when you go up to it, it does heal you. So if you kind of just got wrecked a bit and you want to back up and heal, just find a save point. So
those are handy as well. Now, Derek, you played it a little bit. You had a chance to do some of the combat stuff. What are your thoughts so far on the way it feels when you're fighting?
Well, I like the combat. That's why I bought it. I played the demo for a little bit, and I was like, okay, this is more my style. So I could see myself actually playing this. And then I like the graphics. I like the aesthetics. And I do like the dark story. I mean, I'm not far into it, obviously, but I like, when I watched a review on it, I like that they were like, the story's really dark and it's good. Like, it's satisfying. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, even though I always talk about how I don't care about story and stuff like that, for this game, I would like to at least see if it can hold my interest. And if it can, then maybe I'll beat it. I doubt it. But from what I've played, the little bit I've played, I do like it. I don't have a problem with it at all. Compared to the other two games they released, I didn't buy those at all. And I played I Am Setsuna for like maybe 30 minutes. I think you bought it, Tim, and I had access to it through that. And then I never played Lost Sphear. It's not that those games weren't good or I wasn't interested in them at all. It's just more like I knew they were turn-based. and I just didn't want to bother with turn-based anymore. I'm kind of like over it. And so once I saw that this one was action, I felt like that was a good change. I still think there's a place for turn-based games. Like I think Dragon Quest XI was a great game. I didn't play it all the way through, but I liked it.
Octopath Traveler, I think, is a great example of it.
I think there's a place for those, but I just feel like burnout on them, and I'd rather play something a little bit more action-y and can hold my attention.
For those of you who really like to hear English voice acting, it's all Japanese. The moment you have voice acting with subtitles. So keep that in mind. That doesn't really bother me. I don't mind it, but I do know that some folks don't like that. So there is some reading. You can skip and fast forward just about anything. So don't worry, you don't have to watch.
So it's all for Derek. There's features for Derek.
There's even a skip feature. When it tells you you're going to skip, it'll say, hey, we'll skip you until you might have to make a decision if that's part of this section. So there's a way to skip ahead if you want to. So that's good. I will say this. There's so far I have hit some overall pretty repetitive enemies. Yeah. I understand that they're going to get – I think there's going to be a wider variety and some of the designs are going to be pretty cool. But for the most part, they introduce new enemy types to you pretty slowly. And so I've seen a ton of these little kamikaze fire penguins and things like, So I know they'll probably start to get more creative, but that's one thing. But I don't mind the design, like Derek said, the visuals are good. I would say with the exception, though, is some of the dungeon layouts, even that includes some of the outdoor areas, kind of the way the maps are. Those aren't incredibly inspired. They're not super unique, but they allow you to switch back and forth between the void and the alive world, which to me that gives it a little bit of an interesting twist because you might have a new type of enemy that's in that spot. You might see a treasure chest that wasn't there before. You could talk to a spirit maybe and complete a mission for them, things like that. So
surprisingly, the void, I think, kind of generally has more color to it too, which is funny because it's like the dead world, so to speak. So
it reminds me a little bit of Avatar, where it's very dark, but there's these glowing plants and stuff.
Yeah. I did want to mention, because you were just saying how like the enemy variety is not, there's not a lot to it. So there was this one section I was doing a quest. I forget it. I think it was a main quest, and I found a lost, or like one of the ghosts, and the woman that I was speaking to was like, "Hey, I can't move on to get reincarnated because I don't have my trinket. I bought a trinket, and then I was going home, and then I was murdered. So then you go find the person with the stand who's selling the trinkets, and that character model looked just like the woman who was the ghost. I don't know if you've looked around, Tim, but look around when you're in town, and like the character models are like all the same. They're just duplicate character models, like the male character models of people that just kind of general townsfolk that are walking around. They all look the same.
Yep, and some of like the soldiers and guards, they're all kind of that same. Sorry, I muted myself because I've got a baby that started screaming in the background. I was trying to spare your ears.
Yeah, maybe she didn't like the whole townsfolk being the same.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was like the storyline is too dark and the characters aren't creative enough. Hey, but I will say that so far what I've seen of the main characters and the main demons or daemons, however you're supposed to pronounce it, those are very cool. Those designs are pretty intricate. And the
menus are gorgeous. Like the drawn art that they have in the menus, like it all looks very nice. So, but there's definitely some repetitiveness to. Again, like I said, like the characters, there's just all the townsfolk look the same. So I don't know if it was like a budget thing or a time thing, but like I would have appreciated a bit more variety there. Like at least swap out the colors of their clothing and their hair or something so they look somewhat different. But I don't know. It's not it's just more of an aesthetic, nitpicky visual thing. But
and I feel like that's something that we used to see in like old school games and shouldn't be seeing as much now.
No,
but I kind of figure, like you said, this is kind of, it's not that big of a budget title. It was still, $50. I pre-ordered it, so it was $45.
Yeah.
But point I'm trying to make is that it's kind of going for the old school vibe, so I think in that area they don't really care. But I don't think it would be a time or budget thing. I think if they were probably like, we just don't care.
Yeah. But it's little things like that like, I don't know. in my head, like those few nitpicky things that I've been kind of adding up in my head so far, because I'm about 8 hours into the game.
Yeah.
So like if I stack everything together, I'm like, I don't know if this game was really a $50 game. Because I mean, think about it. For $10 more, that's a AAA game, $60. Like a Kingdom Hearts, which is an action RPG as well. Like,
but it's also trash.
Okay, well, sure. That's fair. There you go. So not worth the $10 extra.
I'm actually with you. I feel like this would have been more at home in the $30 to $40 range, just in terms of, again, the quality doesn't feel low. Like, it's interesting and it's pretty compelling. But I've played plenty of games in that $30 to $40 range that I feel like have the same production qualities, similar combat systems, and of course this game might end up being a super long game. Great, but
it's 20 to 25 hours.
Yeah, that's what I
how you play it.
Yeah,
But
I feel like $40 would have been the sweet spot.
I honestly think 30. I would actually argue 30, to be honest.
Well, I think we have
it's
to
the Square Enix tax.
Well, let's get through the story first. I mean, again, you're paying for art here, and if they go above and beyond and make a great story with good combat and a good game, I don't think we should say, oh, it's $30. Now, if you compare it to like The Witcher 3, and you're like, I paid $60 for The Witcher 3, why would this game be $50? But I hate when people do that.
Well,
you should have paid. And I'm not just talking to you guys. I'm saying in general, you should have paid like $300 for The Witcher 3. Like people owe them money. Like they really do.
Sure.
I think
all that free DLC.
All the gamers most gamers now are so cheap. They're just like, there was one guy in a group that was breaking down the cost of entertainment, and he was like, video games are too expensive because he's like, it's like $1 an hour. I'm like, you're an idiot. First of all, that you did this. I just want you to know you're dumb.
Did you tell him that?
Second of all, no, because it was in that lame-o group where you can't say anything like rude. You just gotta
as soon as you get aggressive, you're out.
I know. You just gotta put a fake smile on and be like, I really like everybody.
What
First of all, great points, and I love your perspective.
Exactly. I see that all the time. I'm like, they're really thinking, God, you're dumb.
Let
me tell you how stupid you are. That what's good gaming.
Oh, what's good gaming? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so like...
By the way, some of you in our group, I know that are in there, and I've seen what you post in our group, and I see what you post in there, and I'm on to you. I know what's happening.
They're trying to swoon the ladies. They're trying to swoon them.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm totally hitting on them, too. But, like, so anyway, so I saw them posting it, and I'm like, this is so dumb, because, like, so many times gamers get so caught up on, like, they need to experience something that feels like 30 cents an hour. Like they need something like huge for their $60. Again, I'm not condemning y'all's opinion. If you feel like it should be 30 or 40, that's fine. But I'm saying if you get through this game and you play it for 20 to 25 hours and you walk away going, okay, it was fun to play and it had a really good, compelling story and it was well done, even though it's a smaller title, I think it could be justified to pay the $45.
Yeah. I'm not arguing that at all. I mean, at this point, presentation-wise, and
you're
just
seeing some things that you think, if I'm going to pay $45 to $50 for, they should have done this a little bit.
Presentation-wise, yes. But again, I'm also only 8 hours into the game, so once I'm finished, I could be like,
pretty early. Good point. I will say this, though. A game like this that is not high-profile. I'm not saying Square is not a recognizable name. Obviously, they're one of the most recognizable out there. But it's not a high-profile game. This is a pretty niche style of game to put out there with a very Japanese-sounding name. I feel like they would have gotten, just marketing-wise, more of a win in total sales. But who knows? Who knows? But in my mind, if you drop this to $29.99, even $24.99, something crazy, I feel like they would. But anyway. I digress.
It's the Square Enix tax because they do this with their mobile games. They'll re-release these older games. Yeah, but I'm saying they'll re-release I think they had Final Fantasy VI. They remade for mobile, and that was I don't know, $25-$30. It's like, are you kidding me?
But then sometimes I think they are I think they model Nintendo, and that's they look at their properties and they're like, they shouldn't be discounted too much or at all, ever. But I also then look at something like Final Fantasy VIII being remastered and they're only charging $20. I think for the fact that they're remastering and then only charging $20, that's really good. And it's even cheaper on PC if you buy it through like Green Man Gaming or something like that. You can get it for like $16 or $17. So the point I'm making is there are sometimes they have good deals. I know I Am Setsuna was not $50. So I feel like they think as they are getting better at making games, I think they can charge more. Because I think the reason why they lost you two on Lost Sphear is because you played I Am Setsuna, you liked it, didn't love it, and then you saw Lost Sphear was like $50, and it didn't review as well, and you're like, I'm out.
That's totally true.
I think when it's like $10 on sale, you guys will probably buy it, whether it's on the Switch or something like that. But I think the reason why I bought this game right away is I felt like I was gonna get my money's worth, even if I don't play it all the way through, just from the quality. Because I do it more on I know some people get caught up on the hours played, and I don't think Daniel was getting caught up on that. He was getting caught up more on the quality. I'm more on the quality because I can pay $60 for an 8-hour campaign and feel like that was worth it. Yeah. Like Gears of War is one of my favorite campaigns, and the original Gears of War is like 6 to 8 hours long, I think.
What about The Order? Did you feel like that was worth $60?
I did actually, because I played it and then replayed it again.
And Order's not a bad game. Where's the sequel to that game, by the way? Where is that?
I mean, it didn't sell well.
Such great lore. That's so depressing. That's like
I don't think that's a bad game.
People post that question, like, what game would you like a sequel to that's gone away? It's always Knights of the Old Republic and The Order for me, because like the lore of The Order. Was it an amazing game to play? No, but was it bad? No.
But I thought some of the guns were really cool. They had some unique guns.
They had some unique things. They just didn't flesh it out very well because they focused so much on being this beautiful action movie, but they focused more on the movie part. And they did an amazing job with the way the game looks. They did a solid job with how it played. It just wasn't very long. It was slow to make it even longer. They're like, here, we'll force you to walk for a little bit.
Yeah.
To make it a little bit longer. But that is a game, like, to me, if Sony went, okay, this is where I wish sometimes Suits actually cared about what they were selling. Because I think if all the Suits were in the video games and they actually paid attention to the gamers, then they would know, okay, look, the sales weren't great, but why weren't they great? And then you'll get that it wasn't long enough and that they needed to improve the gameplay. You could make a sequel to this, improve the gameplay, make it a little bit longer, maybe a little bit more open, kind of open it up, kind of like how Uncharted did or something like that.
I was literally just thinking Uncharted 4 if they had
if they did that, like, you know what I'd love is like if Insomniac or who does Uncharted?
Naughty Dog
was handed that IP. Like if Sony was like, hey guys, could you make a sequel for this? Or could you reboot it? I don't even think they need to reboot it. They left.
No, just make a sequel. Yeah.
In such a great place that I was like, I need another one. And so, anyways, we got sidetracked. But my point is I'm okay paying $60 for an 8-hour game, especially if I'm willing to replay it. That's my point. Gears of War, I played it like 5 times. The Order, I played it 3 times. And even if I didn't replay it, if I walk away going, that was a good story, and I had fun. It was only 7 hours. I'm okay with it. And you go, well, that's almost $10 an hour. Oh no, I spent $50 going to see a 2-hour movie. Get over it.
Hey, message that guy from that group and ask him to do the math for you.
Yeah. Are you okay with paying it? I mean, it's dumb. But anyways, my point is it's always going to be subjective. It's how much joy you get out of the game. I actually think this could have been a great topic for a show. I mean, we're kind of doing it anyways now, but I'm saying a great topic for the show as far as what do you look for in a game that makes you feel like you got your money for it. Because there are some games where they're really long, and I'm like, oh my God, this sucks so bad, and I don't feel like I got my money for it, even though they're like, but it took you 60 hours to beat it. Okay, thanks. It was fun for about 5 hours and trash for 55. But then the games that are 8 hours of pure joy, I walk away from it going, I definitely will return to it at some point, and I don't feel like I got ripped off.
No, that's fair. That's totally fair. I will say this, too. I'm just thinking about how niche these kind of games are. in a way, I guess you could make the argument on the other side that it's smart to price it a little bit higher, knowing that niche fans will not miss this game. So, I love that they put out a demo for this on all platforms. So like everyone try it. You get a feel for the combat. Your progress will carry over if you like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I love when they do that.
Yep,
that's very cool.
So that those elements are pretty smart. Remains to be seen if I personally would look at it as, this is worth $50 or $60 or whatever, or it should have been cheaper. Either way, overall, I'm enjoying my time with it. Sounds like you are too, Daniel. And, so far, if you're a fan of action RPGs, and if you like, especially if you like Square and anime and a little like a darker take on an anime story, I recommend it. I think it's pretty good so far. So I do recommend it. Pretty fun. Derek, speaking of your question, I'm curious about that now. We can move what we were going to talk about to a different way, because now I am curious. What would be the things, maybe there's 3 things, I don't know. What would be the things that you would say, yep, I got my $60 worth out of this game? Let's just say you spent $60.
Okay.
You bought a game at full price, and what determines whether or not that was worth $60 to you?
I think for me now, it's fun. How fun was the game, or how fun is it? That's why I said earlier, I was like, we all owe, CD Projekt Red a lot of money, because they made a fun game and they put a ton of content in it, and they didn't put a ton of content in it just to have a ton of content. Because I do also think a lot of the open world games we're getting, and this is why I think I'm getting drained on open world games. Yes, they're more common, so it makes sense for us to all be like, okay, can I get a linear experience? And I remember when every game was linear and there was like 1 or 2 open world, we're like, can't wait till all the games get open. Now I'm like, oh my god, they just keep repeating the same bull crap. But the point I'm trying to make is that I think with a game like The Witcher 3, they made it this huge game that you can explore and have fun with, and then they have this great story. Great might be a little bit. What happened? Where am I?
We can
closing time.
We can
the
see
heck? My TV just shut down.
Your new TV?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
maybe it's on sleep mode. Maybe it's
that's what I was thinking, but then. No.
What if we are about to have a live experience watching Derek have a breakdown because his new toy just broke?
But the specs are high-end mid-range.
Derek, was your TV worth it?
Shut up, guys.
It's high-end mid-range. Why is this happening?
All right, you figure that piece out. Daniel, what about for you? What makes a game worth that full price you paid for it to you?
So actually, kind of borrowing a little bit of what Derek was saying about open world games, the fatigue for me with open world games, what's becoming an issue for me personally, because of just the type of person that I am, is like you see all those the question marks throughout the maps, all the little blips, and it's like, I got to do those. I have to. I need to go and do all of those things. And it's like, what ends up happening is you're playing the main story, and you're doing some missions, and then it starts opening up, and there's more side stuff, and then you kind of start forgetting almost like what's going on in the game, like the main story. So for me, it's story. If I could play a game, and the story is amazing, it's fantastic, it has great characters, and I finish it, and I'm actually bummed out that I finished it, and then I'm still thinking about like some of those character moments and some of those like holy crap moments and twists, then for me, that's what's worth $60, and I had no problem paying that for a game.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What about for kind of the more traditional RPGs? I know there's some of your favorite genres where you've got JRPGs especially. What makes those worth that full price? Because I know you've probably played the best of the best, but then also the crappy ones that just didn't not up to par, and never in between. So what makes the JRPG worth it to you?
I don't know. There's just something. There was something about it when I was younger that I latched onto with them. Because again, like, so my first RPG was Super Mario RPG, but that's not as in depth as like, a Final Fantasy or a Chrono Trigger or.
It's a nice entry point though, especially for a kid.
But then like when I was hanging out with my friend and he showed me Final Fantasy VIII, which was my first Final Fantasy, and I was just like, this is insane. Like, the type of things that you can do in this game, I've not experienced that on anything on PlayStation 1, N64, anything prior to that. So I don't know. Then when I actually borrowed Final Fantasy VII from him, so 8 was the first one I like experienced, but 7 was the first like full one that I played. He let me borrow it. And just, I don't know, there was just something about the characters and the cutscenes like were mind blowing because I had not experienced a game that had cutscenes. I was just like, obviously when you look back now, it looks terrible, but
there's a lot of mystery in that game too. A lot of it like this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They tie this together. What's with this totally separate character in what appears to be a different dimension almost. Like, so there's
just a lot of depth to things. Like, I mean, you go back and you play games on Super Nintendo. You're playing Mario, and you're like, this is super fun, and you're just kind of playing kind of arcadey games like that. And I mean, even Super Mario RPG has some depth to it, but not really. Not compare as much as like some of these later RPGs. But you go from that to like a Final Fantasy 7 or 8 or 9, and you're like, these are actual people. Like I'm watching them, go through sort of this moment in their life and things are happening, the people they care about are dying. Like, you just kind of feel like you're there and you're witnessing like this thing. And it's just, I don't know. It's just something that I connected with. I guess I can't really explain. It's just always been there. And
what's an
it's
example
just
of one that you played and you were like, this was not worth my money?
Just RPG or just anything in general?
Yeah. Like your favorite genre.
I guess I'd have to really think about it. I don't want to say 15 is the definitive answer, but like I don't regret spending 60. I've actually spent more than $60 because technically some other things have come out after the fact, DLC. And then they had that like, I don't want to say like expansion, but there was like the Royal Edition. There we go, where they kind of did expand some stuff and they added some things.
Parts of the game that weren't finished, but
yeah. But like, as much, I mean, I don't regret spending the 60, but like, that game just there was so much potential for that game within the 10 years leading up to it. Being Versus 13 leading into that, and then when I finally played it, there was just some emptiness there because it was just like because I was doing my podcast thing and I was talking about all these aspects about it, and it just seemed like a really dark story, like darker than anything they've actually ever done. And there was just all sort of these things that were lining up, and the trailers that they were releasing, which then when you play the game, that stuff in the trailers wasn't even in the final game.
That's right.
So like they straight up misled, us because they just didn't have that in the game. There was just kind of an emptiness there.
Yeah,
so,
I gotcha.
I mean, I'm glad I experienced it, but I guess that's the closest thing that I could kind of give you to what you're asking, because there was definitely, like, there wasn't as much as I wanted from it that I got. So
I'm hearing both of you as you talk about, I want it to be fun, I want it to be a good, compelling story, I want to care about the characters. I want the gameplay moments to be fun. To me, to feel good about spending full price on a game, I want, this is going to sound really selfish and super first world problem, okay? But I want it to be all those things. If I'm going to spend full price on a game, I want it to be really fun. I want it to be a memorable experience. Maybe that's story, but maybe it's something like Doom where the story is not memorable, but who cares? It's not meant to be story. It's meant to be this incredibly insane first-person shooter action experience, and they nail it, and it's a lot of fun, and it's not too short of an experience. I think the length of that main campaign is perfect. There's plenty to go through and replay and secrets to find. So to me, I got my value out of that because it looked great, it played great, it was a lot of fun. The music was excellent. The production value is really high. But yeah, what I really want is I want it to check all those boxes, honestly. And if it were like a bar graph, and I were trying to objectively score a game on these different characteristics, as soon as major aspects, let's just say the combat of a game dips below like average or even below like good down into average, then I start to question whether or not this was worth my full price or if I should have waited for it to go on sale, So I guess that's the way I look at it when I'm paying full price. The other thing is, you don't have to pay full price for just about any game anymore. I mean, unless, with some exceptions, I guess, if you really want to pre-order on a certain system or you really want the physical version that's got a deluxe edition, something or other, okay, maybe then you do. But even then, you're going to find discounts. You're going to find a bundle. There'll be a pre-order discount of some kind. Maybe you'll invest in a PC and you can start buying these things. You can buy PC games essentially always at a discount somewhere. I think it's very rare that you have to pay full price for a PC.
I could have gotten Oninaki, whatever it's called, for $40 on PC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you're nice to me, so you shared it with me. I got you. But all that to say, I feel like you don't have to pay full price for stuff anymore. But on the few times that I do, I really want it to pay off in a number of areas. I want it to be fun. I want it to be the kind of thing that I can't wait until everything else in my life kind of calms down so I can get back to that game. You know, I can't wait till work is over and I've got my family time in and kids are in bed and I can fire up the game again. That's the feeling that I want for at least a little while with that game if I've paid full price for it. So it's a little hard to objectively rate it, but I think typically it's got to look great, be fun to play, have a compelling story or at least reason to keep playing. So that's usually what I would look for.
I love those games that do come out every once in a while. Like even as an adult, like you're at work and you're like, I should have just called out. I should have called out so I could sit home and play that. Like I'm that fixated on like that game that just came out, you know. So
so that's the thing. Like I still somewhat get excited for games, but I haven't. I haven't felt that way in a long time. I haven't felt that way where I'm like, I can't wait to play this game, and then when I actually play it, you're like, I have to get back to it. That's
Rocket League.
Yeah.
That's why I was trying to tell y'all, like, y'all were making fun of me, like, you're still gaming. I'm like, yeah, I'm still gaming, but I'm gaming because my options are watch 30 more sermons, which I've already done throughout the day, watch TV, which I don't care about,
paint on
exercise again, but I'm tired, or play a video game. And so I get to my last resort, which is usually now video games, and I'm like, I'll look at all my games, and I'm like, Red Dead, too slow. The Division, not in the mood. Like, that's all I do. I'll be like, not in the mood, not Rocket League.
So
and
you know
what I do.
You know what I did for a while? There was a couple instances, I'd say within the past couple of years, where like there was like a good like month or so for me, which is unusual, where I was like, I'm kind of not in the mood to play something. Like I'll still be playing things, but so like I just did something else. And I know you just listed a bunch of things. You're like, I don't really want to do that, but maybe you need to distract yourself for a little while doing something, like maybe watching a bunch of movies or just trying to
but that's what I've been doing for a year and a half. That's what I'm saying. This started like a year and a half ago.
Maybe you should start watching anime.
Oh gosh.
You should watch some anime. I can recommend some anime for you if you like.
I'll pass, buddy. But my point is,
come on.
And again, I'm not trying to get it back onto, depressed. No. What I'm saying is, like, I want that back. Like, I still want gaming in my life, and I would like to get excited about something. Even Borderlands 3, I'm excited about it, but I'm like, am I going to play it? I think I will. That's the one game I'm semi-confident with because I already beat Borderlands and Borderlands 2 this year. Like, I replayed them. So I'm like, okay, those games are kind of my jam right now where I just get in. I already know the system. I think that's why I was enjoying The Witcher 3 is because I'm like, I already know the system. Like, I already know what to do. I know what I'm doing. I'm comfortable with this. I don't have to think. I'll die, but it's not frustrating. Like, I don't feel like I died and I can't beat this. You know, there's like some enemies I ran into that were level 15 and I was like still trying to fight them when I'm a level 4 and I was like, okay, you're not that good at this game. Just like go away and come back to it later. But other than that, every other area, like I would fight level 9 enemies, like a bunch of them, not just one or two. And I was able to beat them because I knew how to get away from them, come back, do whatever strategy I need to do. But I think that's what I'm looking for is to get back into where I'm excited for games. And that's why I said before I got cut off by I think it's my outlet blue or whatever. My TV seems to be fine. I hope.
Yes, fingers crossed.
But anyway, so
thoughts and prayers.
I think the reason why I said a game has to be fun, and I was going to go on from that, but fun is important to me right now because that's the only thing that will hold my attention. Yeah. Because if I don't have fun, if I'm watching too much talking or reading too much or whatever, I'm like, oh my God, or I die multiple times and I'm like, I don't know the systems of this game that I feel confident I can beat this. I have to learn it. I'm too tired to try to learn it because I am doing other stuff. And maybe it is from exercising a lot. I do exercise a lot. Like I exercise while I'm at work, and then I exercise after work. So maybe I'm just physically...
you have like a desk treadmill situation? What do you mean you exercise at work?
Like every hour I get up and I walk the pond, which is like 0.4 miles. So by the time I get to the pond, walk it, and then walk back, I'm basically walking a half a mile.
That's like your peacock strut to make sure everyone's I gotcha.
That's
Okay,
where
it's
I
a
go
little sweaty for the ladies, you know?
Yeah.
That's where I go and see suicidal ducks. Ducks that are like, I'm over this place. I hate Chase. And
Oh, that duck, yeah. Did he do it?
Dude, that was hilarious. I was like, what are you doing up there? And it's
that duck's like, don't try to talk me down. I've already made up my mind.
I was gonna make a video with it and start talking to Sasan as I mocked the ducks, but I was like, there's people around. Like,
that's what you should have done.
Crazy.
You should have approached the duck and you should have started talking to him. Be like, "Don't do it, man. It's not worth it." That would have been funny.
So I want to throw out one more idea there, both when it comes to what do you need out of a full price game, as well as just getting satisfaction out of gaming. And I think I'm certainly guilty of this. Derek, I know you're guilty of this because you made me the way I am when it comes to this. Daniel, I don't think you've got this problem. That is, we have too many games that are at our disposal, ready to play.
Sure.
And I know that, Daniel, you're a little smarter than we are when it comes to what money to spend.
Well, this year mainly, for sure.
That's good. It's more like, I know I'm going to play this. I'm going to get it, and I'm going to invest time in it because that's my main game for whenever I'm tired of it, then I'll buy another one.
I've gotten a little bit better. I used to be worse, trust me.
Well, here's why
I've gotten a little bit better.
I think the volume's probably down, but I think your percentage of what you play and how far you get into them is worse.
Yeah.
So, and I'm the same way, though, and you've made me this way. I blame you. Is that I have now...
Way to take responsibility.
You got it. Yeah.
What's your favorite Bible verse, Trump? Way to take responsibility.
All of it. All of it.
I like all of it. I like all of it.
Yeah,
I think it's too personal.
I think it's the one that talks about, I regret to have but one life to lose for my country. That's my favorite Bible verse. It's not a Bible verse, everybody. Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
In
case you're wondering. Yeah.
That's not in my atheist book, so I'm sorry. I don't really. my apologies. I don't really.
But I do think I've got too many games at my disposal. That's one reason why at times I am ready to quickly turn around an opinion on a game that I paid full price for, because how dare this game not completely take my attention and all my enjoyment right away. And so I'm almost demanding more out of games that normally I would have saved up for that one, bought that one game, and that's it. I rolled the dice, and I hope that one's good because that's all I'm playing. So now I've got a lot more at my fingertips. Of course, some of it has to do with digital sales happening all the time. Those things kill me. Things like Game Pass on the Xbox absolutely kill me because now I've got, so many games at your fingertips.
Well, and that's what I was trying to say about how I've gotten better. I do agree. Like, yeah, you're buying less, Derek, but you're playing less, so you're still getting the same percentage of, like, your value or your return on investment. But I also think, for instance, I bought the $100 Borderlands 3 version. That's a lot of money.
Sure.
But I didn't pay for it all because I had Tim who's like, no, I'll go half. So that's another reason why I'm getting, like, the reason I bought Control. I have very little interest in playing Control. I'm not hyped for it at all.
How are you not? Have you not seen the trailers?
I love the developer, but every preview I've watched sounds like it's going to be a frustrating game, and I just told you, I'm not in the mood. Like, if Dark Souls
put it on easy.
If they were to release a new Dark Souls or a new Bloodborne, it would be a terrible time to do that for me.
But you both have said in the past you have no problem switching games to easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just do that so you can enjoy the game more. I mean,
here's my thing with that. My pride has no problem dropping it.
Sure.
My boredom level does. So there are certain games that I'll put on easy because I'm like, I don't want to get frustrated. But then I'll play it and I'll be like,
oh, okay. Sure.
Stupid. Like, there's no challenge.
Well, pick a lane, buddy. Pick a lane.
Well, I understand that. I'm not the one complaining about it. My point is where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I know.
Gosh dang.
Hey, again, for everyone who's just listening, Derek kicked back on his couch with the blanket on, hacking it up. Listen, he just turned 40. Okay, let's give him some patience.
Are you dying? Are you at hospice?
As I was starting to talk and I inhaled, I went down the wrong tube. And I'm like, all right. So what was I saying? God.
What are your final words?
Like Control. Like I was using Control as an example. I bought it with Wolfenstein because Tim and I were like, well, we want both those games. Okay. Tim's like, I'll give you half. I said, okay. I'm willing to pay half for Control, and I'm willing to pay half for Wolfenstein. And I got my money's worth out of Wolfenstein, even though I haven't beaten it. I played over 20 hours. Control, maybe. Let's say maybe. But I don't think I will. But I don't feel bad paying $30 for it because maybe at some point, I get to play it when it comes out so I can talk about it on the show. And I do like doing the show, so I like being relevant. So that's why I make fun of Daniel. I'm like, good, I'm glad you saved money and all that stuff, but like, hey, we need you to be relevant. If you're not relevant, you're fired, bro. I'm letting you know right now, live on the air. If you're not relevant, you're out.
You're the half gamer, so if anything, you're fired, all right?
I'm gonna go ahead and go let you two figure this piece out.
But you cannot
there
leave
was
us,
a firefight.
But you can't. I like to be able to talk about those games when they come out because when we do this show, a lot of people that listen to us, they like our banter or whatever, but they also want us to talk about the games that are coming out because not everybody's buying those games. Right. And so they're like, okay, I'm interested in Control, but I don't want to pay $60. Let me hear what Tim, Daniel, and Derek say about Control, and so on. So I do like that, but at the same time, I have bought less games, and what I meant by that is like I would have bought NBA, NHL, FIFA, all of these sports games. Now I'm like, because of what Tim talked about, we have so many games. I have to be in the mood to play those games, so they never get day one anymore. I don't buy Madden anymore. I will buy FIFA if my son wants to play it, but he's so hooked to Fortnite, I don't even think I have to buy FIFA this year.
Just don't tell him it exists, and he'll never even think about it.
I actually want to get him off Fortnite, because I even told him, like, do you want FIFA 20? And he's like, I won't play it. I'm like,
we also don't have the time. We don't literally have all the time in the world to talk about all the games on here. I mean, so that's why it's good.
And we don't have all the time to play them.
Yeah,
because
but that's why it's good to have three of us. Because if there's three of us, if we're playing kind of different things, then that's more opportunity to.
And by different things, you mean Mario Maker every week? You're irrelevant. Yes. You're fired.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Exactly.
Hey,
exactly.
You gotta be honest though. There is something that's
First Trumpelonians. Goodbye.
My next level is going to be titled Derek is a D-bag. That's what it's going to be titled.
I mean, my favorite book in the Bible is First Trumpelonians.
First Trumpelonians.
Get them out of here. First one, get them out of here.
There is a certain addictive nature to getting games on sale and adding stuff to your library and just having it ready to go. There's something to that that doesn't always carry over if we're not actually following through and getting enjoyment out of that, getting our value out of that. But anyway, that's interesting. Yeah, I do think Oninaki, the jury's still out. Is that worth the full $50 or not? So far, I'm really enjoying it. So we'll see if it's.
I think for us three, the answer will be yes. I think for other people that haven't bought it yet, I think it falls in that category. If you're on the fence, just wait.
Yeah,
I think it's a good game, but I do think it's going to be on sale pretty quickly.
But keep
because of the amount of games
Lost Sphear and I Am Setsuna never usually go below that 25 range or so.
Yeah, I know, because it's that stupid Square Enix really thinking they're Nintendo. You're not Nintendo, bro.
If you see it dip under 30, I would say that's about as good as it's going to get. And if you're interested, go grab it at that point. So,
indeed,
pretty good game so far. Just wanted to go through some of the announcements I saw coming out of Gamescom. Nothing major, but a few things I thought were interesting. This one's kind of major, though, I guess. Sony purchased Insomniac. That happened.
Yeah, that's huge, because I just really don't get why Microsoft didn't. And the only thing I can think of is Microsoft may have said, they may have tried, and they may have said, well, anything you release, we own. I don't know if Sony's doing that, too.
Dude, I feel the opposite. I feel like Sony would be the ones who would say, anything you release, we own, and Microsoft would be like, we'll release everything on every platform.
Is it Ted Price that's the CEO of Insomniac?
Yeah, Ted Price.
He for years, I guess, was like we're independent. Like that's our thing.
Yeah.
Like
pro and on his own.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden, but it's probably because of the Spider-Man thing. The Spider-Man made such an enormous amount of money. What was it? What is it? 13 point something million it sold.
A lot of money.
Copies. So Sony probably went to them with a big old fat check. It was like, listen, like we need to do this because for years we should have bought you and we haven't because you wanted to be independent.
And I think outside of Spider-Man, they haven't had much success.
Well, Ratchet did pretty well, right?
Ratchet's been around for a while.
I'm saying like,
but yeah, compared to Spider-Man.
When they release games independently on all consoles, like one of the games I liked was Fuse. It was a failure for Insomniac.
Oh, yeah.
Insomniac does not release a lot of failures.
But that was EA's fault.
Sunset Overdrive was generally liked, but I wouldn't call it a success.
It was not a success. Not financially.
Yeah,
I think a lot of gamers liked it. I still think it's an average game at best. But I think the most success they've ever had was on the Sony platform. And I do think Daniel is right. I think they got the opportunity with Sony to work on Spider-Man and make themselves relevant again. They weren't very relevant. I'm talking currently. Re-releasing Ratchet and Clank is not making you relevant. Releasing something, a new IP on a huge franchise like Spider-Man, and to do it and knock it out of the park like they did, and then get all that money, and I think you get security with Sony. And I'm sure, and maybe Tim's right, maybe Sony went, hey, we respect you, Insomniac. We're going to give you all the freedom we want, but we want more Spider-Man games, and we might even unlock more IPs. That's why I mentioned them as one of them that I would love if they were to take over the Order, what was it, 1886 or whatever.
Yeah.
I would love it because I think they could knock it out of the park. Them or Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog.
Well,
but Naughty Dog's, their ego's too big. They'll be like, no, we create our own stuff.
And don't forget that Gamescom has been going on this whole past week, so if you're interested in seeing some new game trailers and stuff like that, go read up on some of that. There were a few moments where I guess Google Stadia had some announcements, and then Microsoft had a little conference, but there wasn't a ton of breaking news.
Ori and the Blind Forest for Switch is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I was going to get to that with Indie World. That's a pretty major one with Microsoft breaking that wall down. We'll get to that in a second. Devil May Cry 5 is now on Game Pass, so if you've got Game Pass, you can go play that. That one's a little surprising to me. It's not an exclusive, and it's not that old, and now you can just play it. You have full access to it on Game Pass. It's pretty sweet.
You should play that. It's amazing.
A great game. Final Fantasy VIII Remastered arriving on September 3rd. So that's this coming Tuesday? No, next Tuesday, I think.
It's a surprise that it's even coming out. I think it was a hope and a prayer somebody threw out there, and it's being redone because allegedly, I don't know if you know this, I think I actually brought it up before, the code for that game had been missing entirely. Like Square Enix didn't have it in their vaults anywhere. So people thought that it wasn't going to come out, and they have some. I don't know who it is. Some other third parties doing it. But yeah, they're bringing it out, and the character models don't look like pixelated garbage.
So when I heard this announcement, I said, "Who cares? Why are they doing this?" And then I saw side by side, and it reminded me of what they looked like on the PS1.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I was like, all right. Even though it still looks like an old game that's been up-resed, it looks really well up-resed. So it does look a lot better. And
it's an underrated Final Fantasy. I know it's not. I don't think it's the best one. Definitely of the PlayStation 1 trilogy there of 7, 8, and 9.
I'm not a big fan of the whole brooding teenager vibe of the whole thing, but I will say this. The combat system is right up there with the best that Final Fantasy has put together. The junction system and all that. Really,
the gunblade.
Gunblades. That stuff's all very good. So I highly recommend it. It's only $20, like Derek said earlier. That's a pretty good deal. If you don't have a preference and you own a Switch, I think that's the place to play JRPGs, honestly. But it's up to you. Wherever you prefer to play your games. Speaking of Switch, The Witcher 3, or as I like to now call it, Switcher 3. It's coming to Switch on October 15th. By the way, they fit this entire game plus its DLCs onto one 32-gigabyte cart. So that's probably the direction I'm going to go if I end up getting this for Switch. I'm going to wait and see what the final reviews are. Honestly, I'm not kidding, I've done some research into different websites and YouTube channels that I feel like are trustworthy, and I've seen it said both ways. One says this is really not the right Witcher experience. Don't waste your time on Switch. And I've seen others that have said, when you're playing on handheld, forget about what the numbers are telling you. Just look at it. It looks and plays great. So I want to wait until there's a final definitive answer to it.
I really think you will enjoy it. Like, I wouldn't say pay $60 for it, but you play on the Switch all the time, and you're going to play it in handheld mode.
Yep.
I really think people are really stupid about this. I've seen even some people in our group that are like, "Oh, it's not for me." Well, yeah, it's not for you because you don't play handheld. The only reasons you would buy this game, there's two: handheld mode, because that's what you play a lot, like you're on the go a lot, or just like in Tim's case, I don't think he plays it on the go as much as he plays it in his own house while watching really cool reality shows.
But Master Chef is fantastic.
It's right? Quality time with my wife, okay?
Master Chef is fantastic, all right?
So envious, bro. So envious. Filing divorce papers right now just because of that. All right, so, and then the second...
Wait. You're filing for divorce for me? You're filing them on my behalf? What's happening?
Just in case that's my future, I'm just going to do it now.
All right, got it.
I'm blocking that huge quality time. But then also, the second reason would be if you only own a Switch, which that would be a very, very small number. Like if you don't have a PC, Xbox, PS4, nothing. If you are not in those two camps, then of course there's no reason to play it. I'm not going to buy it. Why? Because I don't play it in handheld mode. Now, if my wife says, hey, I'd like to go on a trip for a week, and it's coming up soon or something like that, when The Witcher 3 is coming out, and I'm like, what Switch games would I want to take? Oh, I could buy The Witcher 3. Then you would hear me buy the game.
Sure.
Yeah, and
but if I can play it on my PC, I'm going to play it on my PC.
The Witcher, by the way, The Witcher 3 has had some amazing sales across all platforms. I will not be surprised to see this one.
$10, $12.
Yeah, so that's the place to get it. Like Derek said, if you've got a PC, especially if it's a capable one, 100% get it there. You'll get the best price and the best experience. The other two consoles are also great experiences. You can get those on amazing sales. Just hang on for a sale. Even without a sale, I think you can get most of it for $20, $30. Gets you.
I think the standard price for the complete edition is $20. When it goes on sale now, it's usually $10 to $15.
That's a crazy amount of value for that amount. Yeah. But also, I will say the reason I'm considering it on the Switch too is, we've talked about this a lot. The Witcher 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm with you. I do think it's probably the best game of this generation. The physical version of the Switch comes with a map and this little compendium booklet and these little just a bunch of little collector doodad things. And it's still $60 for that. And you get the whole cart. You don't have to download a thing. You just pop the card in and play it. So that sounds very appealing to me to add it to my collection at some point. So whether I, bite the bullet and go for it at $60 like we just talked about, I know I'm going to get my value out of it. I'm not really concerned about that. I just want to wait and see definitively, does this game run well? I understand it's going to take a visual hit. The grass won't look as good. The skin on the characters might look a little bit less realistic. Whatever. I totally get it. But if it runs well, if I can still have battles with big monsters and, for the most part, enjoy this giant open world to explore, like Derek said, sitting on my couch, playing it handheld, I'm totally going to get this. It's just a matter of, is it playable? And
if it's playable, I'll buy it too, but not at $60. I'll just buy it just to own it, to support it when it's cheaper.
I don't think CD Projekt Red's doing this, and the frame rate's going to come out at like 10 frames per second.
It's not going to. I guarantee you it's going to never dip below 25.
Yeah, and if it stays at 25, 30, that's going to be a fantastic experience, handheld-wise. I believe. So pretty impressive. That does come out in October, which is pretty cool. Might be one of those treat yourself moments around the holiday time. We'll see how things unfold.
I mean, it's coming out at a dumb time for us. Like, I'm talking to hardcore gamers that are buying 50 billion games.
Yeah.
But that's why I said, as a collector and somebody who's, same thing with Rocket League. When Rocket League came out, we got it for free, and Tim and I were like just buying all the DLC and stuff. Why? Because we were like, well, we just want to give them money. It's the greatest game ever created. The same thing with Witcher 3. I just said in the show earlier, I'm like, I owe them money. So if I paid $60 for the Switch version, I would not feel bad, even though I own it on PC.
You almost said Switch.
Xbox One, and I own it on PS4. I own it 3 copies of it already.
Yeah. Yep. And I will say this. I was looking at, just kind of glancing at the calendar now that we are about to see Astral Chain release on the Switch, which, by the way, there's only been one review that I know of, and it came out, I think, on Famitsu, and they gave it a really high score across their 4 reviewers. So I'm looking forward to actually being able to read reviews in English, but apparently first take is pretty good. All that to say, we've got Astral Chain 2 weeks later, Daemon Ex Machina 2 weeks later, Legend of Zelda and Dragon Quest 11 both drop at the end of September.
Which there's a demo on the eShop, so if you've never tried it, you can do so.
For Dragon Age?
Dragon Quest 11.
I keep saying Dragon Age. Dragon Quest 11. Okay, sweet. Yeah. So we've got Astral Chain, Daemon Ex Machina, Legend of Zelda, and Dragon Quest 11. Then 2 weeks later, The Witcher 3. Then 2 weeks later, Luigi's Mansion 3. Then 2 weeks later, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Nintendo has every 2 weeks a marquee release from now until Thanksgiving. That's insane to me.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I mean, guess what I just read in that cool group again? Somebody posting about... I'm serious. I just read it and commented on it. Somebody posting that their Switch... Am I the only one that my Switch is just... It's just collecting dust? Yeah, bro. Have you not been reading all the Fire Emblem posts? Even in that group, they like Fire Emblem. I'm like, are you dumb? Why are you
also, why are you letting your electronics collect dust? Like, why are you being rude to your electronics? Just dust
it just sounds to me like you're not taking care of your stuff.
Yeah, just dust your electronics.
Stupid, the stuff people post. Like, hey, I'm really bored.
Yeah.
How can I get attention? Let me make a video saying I want to make love to
Listen, the only reason that I go through waves of my consoles, it just has to do with what I happen to be playing at that time. There's always plenty to play on every console.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Always plenty to play. Speaking of which, Nintendo did have I did not know this was coming because I wasn't paying attention to news on a Sunday last week, but they announced that to open Gamescom, they're going to have an Indie World Direct, essentially. Excuse me. There we go. And so I'm not going to go through all these games. Most of them are who cares. We'll wait and see if they, do they become some kind of indie darling that everyone loves. Maybe we'll give it a shot. But there's a few that I think are worth calling out. The first one is Eastward, which is from the developer Chucklefish.
Yeah, that one looks sick. Yeah,
this game looks really cool. Go check out the trailer for this one. It comes out in 2020. Eastward looks like a lot of fun. Europa is a really trippy-looking 3D action platformer. It's very physics and gravity-based. It almost reminded me of some Mario Galaxy levels because it goes upside down and the graphics look really great. And a little bit like Mario Galaxy plus The Blob because there's some adding color to the world elements to that. So Europa looks pretty cool. They did drop Super Hot that day. They said, hey, it's available today on the eShop. Super Hot's actually a pretty fun game. So if you like puzzle/first-person shooter action, it's pretty fun. I don't know if you guys have played that or not, but Super Hot's pretty fun.
I haven't, but it looks cool. For sure.
It's pretty fun. There's this game called The Tourist with a Y. At first I saw it and I looked away. I was like, who cares? I don't need another Minecraft-style visual game. But as I was watching it, I actually started to get vibes from games like Titan Souls and a few others that have really cool isometric action-adventure vibes to them.
Yeah.
And this one looks interesting. It comes out this November. So The Tourist looks pretty cool. And by the way, as the trailer went on, it didn't so much look like Minecraft as much as, yes, it's got blockiness to it, but it actually does have some pretty cool style that I thought.
I think it has like towns and like there's dungeon crawling. Like you could go out into the ocean and like dive into the water. Like it actually looks pretty cool.
It looks like a ton of exploring.
Yeah.
And some pretty cool battles. So The Tourist looked pretty interesting after I got through the opening part of the trailer. This one looks awesome. It's called Earth Knight. It's an action platformer. Looks super, super fast and stylish. Basically, you're in this world of dragons, and the platforms that you're running on are actually dragons flying through the sky. Now, I'm sure there's more to it than just that, but that's a lot of what they showed. And there's tons of monsters to fight, and the visuals on that one looked really cool. Really cool animation for Earth Knight as well. I've been talking about this one for a while. I'm surprised it took them 2.5 years into the Switch life cycle to do this, but there's a Hotline Miami collection that's out now on Switch. You get both games, 1 and 2. Here's the caveat, though. It's a little pricey for 2 games that are pretty old. So this is another one that you can always find on sale. If you're interested in these games, go on Steam. You can get them for like $2. If you don't have a Steam account, just hang on. I am certain that they will run these on a sale on the eShop as well.
I've
But
seen them on the PSN on sale for sure.
On PSN, they're on, on Xbox they've been on sale. They've been very cheap different times over the years. But great collection of very difficult, very stylish, and incredibly bloody games. You just have to get them at the right price. I don't think they're necessarily, at this point, worth $25 total. You could hang on for that one.
I hate how Nintendo keeps doing that. I mean, I guess they're kind of getting away with it. But they're taking these old games and putting it on the Switch, and I get it that it's so you can play it on the go. I understand that, and they should be able to raise the price a little bit. But those two games combined should be $15 max together.
Yeah. Well, they've both been on Vita, I think. So
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, they've both been portable before. This one I thought looks kind of interesting. Reminds me a little bit of what was that side-scrolling Dark Souls like from a couple years? Salt and Sanctuary.
Yeah.
This one looks a little bit like that. It's from Team 17. It's called Blasphemous.
Yeah.
Looks really tough, but really fun.
Yeah.
Team 17, when I think of them, I think of like Worms. Remember the games Worms and stuff like Worms 3D and all those kind of games?
Yeah.
They've done a lot of other games, too. Hey, Derek, I think someone wants your attention. Anyway, Blasphemous does look really cool, so go check that one out as well. And the last one that I'll call out before we get to the one that Daniel mentioned earlier is Spiritfarer is confirmed to be coming to Switch as well. I wasn't sure that was officially announced as a Switch game. I know it was other platforms. But anyway, it's certainly coming to Switch sometime next spring. It's from the developer Thunder Lotus, who I'm a big fan of. They made Jotun, which is a pretty fun Viking isometric action game. And then one of my favorite Metroidvanias recently is Sundered, and Thunder Lotus made that game as well. So Spiritfarer looks interesting. We just talked about helping the spirits cross the plane from death into the afterlife or whatever.
That looks cool.
Very, very much in that same vibe, but we'll see if that one is any good. I'm sure it will be. It looks interesting.
Can I throw a shout out?
Yeah.
To Cat Quest 2 action RPG.
Have you played Cat Quest 1, or are you just making this up right
No,
now?
I mean, well, first of all, we have a cat, my wife and I. My wife loves cats.
Okay.
And it's actually a pretty solid co-op game. So if you're looking for something to play with, oh yeah, definitely.
My daughter wanted me to get it, and I was like, babe, I guarantee you this is like mobile crap. We don't want to get this game.
I mean, the art is really nice, and it kind of definitely has sort of like that mobile look to it, where like you would find for sure on a mobile game. But no, it's actually really fun. Yeah, it's got a leveling up system. You buy equipment, and the equipment actually has different looks. So when you're wearing it, you can tell that you're wearing different armor. The story
next time my cute little daughter looks at me and says, "Daddy, can you please get Cat Quest?" I should appease her.
Yeah, no, it's actually pretty cool. And Cat Quest 2 is going to have dogs now, so like one's a cat, one's a dog. So, but yeah, and it's got like an actually interesting story, to be honest. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, let's
shout out to Cat Quest.
I've said no to my daughter on that one a lot.
Well, now you say yes to Cat Quest.
There was one that I didn't highlight that I don't know much about called Northgard. It's a real-time strategy game. I don't know if it's any good, but I feel like real-time strategy still belongs on the PC. But I don't know. If you're interested in that, that one comes out at the end of September as well. Last one I'll mention is Microsoft is doing what a lot of us didn't really expect, although we kind of wished for it. I remember saying this before E3. I was hoping they would announce it. But it's really happening. Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition is coming to Switch on September 27th.
Yeah.
So one of the best platformers in recent memory, both in terms of story and visuals and gameplay. I mean, it just checks all the boxes. It doesn't have very many weaknesses outside of the fact that it didn't have fast travel and was too difficult. Well, Definitive Edition takes care of both of those things. You can scale down the difficulty, and now there's fast travel. So there's really no excuse to skip this one. Perfect home on the Switch. It was don't get me wrong, it was perfect on Xbox on a nice big screen as well.
Now you don't have to buy a crappy Xbox. You can just have a Switch.
Come on, Pony. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Gears of War, bro. Gears of War.
But yeah, really great addition.
Gears of War, bro, indeed.
Really great addition to that Nintendo library. It was just really weird to see, because I watched some of the game trailers after the thing. I read through the announcements, kind of watched some of the trailers. It was just really weird to see at the end of that trailer when it shows you the Ori and the Blind Forest logo with the date, and along the bottom it says Nintendo Switch, and then it said Xbox Game Studios.
Yep.
I was like, that is so weird to see those together on the same.
What alternate universe are we in right now?
Yeah, so bizarre. So anyway, I mean, I don't know if we'll ever get to the point that we were dreaming about earlier this year. We said, hey, what if Xbox puts out Game Pass on the Switch? And we were talking really in really big terms. That was
kind of getting there.
They're putting some major exclusives out on the Switch, which is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, between Cuphead and Ori, those are two of their more high-profile console exclusives that they've had in the last few years.
Are you streaming or downloading the Game Pass games?
If they did out on Switch, I would imagine you have to stream them.
But I'm saying on Xbox, are you downloading them or streaming them?
Downloading.
They're downloading.
Okay, so not streaming at all?
No, it's not. It's just like it's the same thing as if you had them in your Gold GameStop Gold account. And you have to download.
But I mean, they could certainly tailor that, and then they're profiting. If Nintendo allowed, if they even wanted to do that,
right,
there would have to be some sort of.
But I mean, they introduced. I know we're kind of getting off topic again before we wrap up here, but they kind of introduced that concept with PC. Game Pass Ultimate. But not every single game in Game Pass is available there. Well, if they made Game Pass Switch and they could have a certain selection that's really only Switch friendly that goes on there. Dude, I don't know if they'll ever do it, but
yeah, I mean PC is PC versus Nintendo being a competitor, so
Yeah, but kinda. I don't know that they're really competitors anymore. I feel like
competitor in the general sense of like they have a console and they're Nintendo, so they're a separate company.
They are competing for your console purchase dollars. That is for sure. But Xbox seems less and less concerned about that these days, and more concerned with they want to get you in on various subscriptions and just their overall platform, wherever that lives, out in the cloud or wherever it is. But anyway, all right. Well, that does it for this week. Thanks, Daniel and Derek, for talking. I think Derek already fell asleep, I think.
I was going to say, I want to apologize to our listeners who clearly listen to the show to get my input and then my take on most games and what's going on. I didn't get to talk a lot tonight because Tim and Daniel had the dumbest topics to talk about, and I apologize for that.
You know that the last topic was based off of some stuff you said, right?
Shut up.
Stupid. I just want to punch you in the face so bad.
Interesting counterpoint, Derek. This is intriguing dialogue we're having.
Yeah, STFU, GTFO.
Okay. All right, well, you guys have a great week. Thank you.
Do you have to bleep that out?
No.
Nerd boy, you sure? Nerd boy?
Yeah, I'm sure.
GTFO. I hate you.
Hey, Derek. Hey, Derek.
And you look terrible too.
You're a piece of.
Who is your daddy? I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?